Saving 20% of your paycheck might actually be costing you money. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact type of person who should only be saving 5% and why that could make them wealthier long term. But first, we need to talk about why this 20% rule became gospel in the first place. Because once you see where it comes from, you will never look at it the same way again. Stay with me, because later I am going to give you a much smarter framework than any fixed percentage. The 20% saving idea exploded in popularity because of budgeting systems like the 50-30-20 model. 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings. That's clean, memorable, and repeatable. But here's what most people don't realize. That framework assumed something very specific about the economy. It assumed stable careers, it assumed rising real wages, and it assumed lower housing to income ratios. According to historical housing data from sources like the Federal Reserve and US Census Trends, home prices relative to income has expanded significantly compared to previous decades. Now look at today. House prices rising, healthcare costs climbing, student debt everywhere, gig economy volatility. The system has changed, but the advice didn't. And when advice doesn't adapt to the environment, it stops being wisdom. Now, here is where things get uncomfortable. Some of you are undersaving. Some of you are massively oversaving. And some of you are following the 20% perfectly while quietly sabotaging your financial future. Let's figure out which one you are. Instead of life stages, I want to divide people into leverage profiles, because wealth isn't built by age, it's built by leverage. Profile 1, high potential, lower income. If you're early in your career or you know you are underpaid relative to your ability, your greatest wealth accelerator isn't saving harder, it's earning smarter. Let me tell you a quick story. John, a store manager, makes $48,000 a year. He was saving 20%, disciplined, consistent, responsible. But 5 years later, he was still under $60,000 income. Meanwhile, his friend Peter saved only 10%, but invested in certifications and skill stacking. Within 4 years, he's making 6 figures. Both started at the same starting point, but with different focus. You cannot outsave a low income. That's not motivational, it's mathematical. If you're in this category and you're obsessing over cutting coffee instead of increasing income, you are optimizing the wrong variable. Profile 2, stable high earner. Let's flip this. If you're earning 6 figures with stable employment and you're only saving 20%, you may be leaving leverage on the table. Research on savings behavior consistently shows that lifestyle inflation expands with income unless deliberately constrained, meaning the more you make, the more you justify spending. At higher income, 25 to 40% saving isn't extreme, it's efficient. Profile 3, volatile income. Entrepreneurs, freelancers, commission earners. Your income swings. So why would your savings rate be static? Rigid rules break under volatility, but dynamic savings works better. High months, save aggressively. Low months, preserve liquidity. 20% assumes stability, but modern income often isn't stable. Pause for a second. Which one are you? Because the rest of this video depends on that answer. In the comments, type 1, 2, or 3. Now, this is the part that's controversial. Oversaving can cost opportunity, and I want you to hear this clearly. Security without growth becomes stagnation. There are people with 80,000 in cash savings, afraid to invest in skill expansion, afraid to relocate, afraid to take calculated risk. Meanwhile, inflation quietly erodes ideal cash over time. Even modest inflation reduces purchasing power significantly over long horizons. So, if you're aggressively saving but not increasing earning power, you might feel safe, but you are slowly falling behind. Saving protects, growth multiplies. Both matters, but not equally at every stage. In a few minutes, I'm going to give you a simple framework that replaces the 20% rule entirely. And once you see it, you will realize why percentage-based advice is too primitive. Instead of asking, what percentage should I save? Ask, what function is my money serving? I break this in 3 categories: stability, growth, optionality. Stability is emergency liquidity. Growth is invested capital. Optionality is flexibility money with the ability to pivot. When you allocate savings intentionally across these buckets, the percentage becomes secondary. Strategy becomes primary. Now, I will give you the ranges, not commandments. If you're early stage growth focused, 5 to 15%. If stable mid-income, 15 to 25%. High income stable, 25 to 40%. Irregular income, 30 to 50% in peak months. Notice something? None of these numbers are emotional. They are strategic, and that's the difference. But here's the twist. Even savings rate isn't the ultimate metrics, because someone saving 25% with no runway is more fragile than someone saving 15% with 12 months of reserves. So let's talk about the metrics that actually matters. How many months of life can you fund without income? 3, 6, 12? That number determines your negotiating power, your stress level, your risk tolerance, your freedom. Savings rates is a habit metrics. Freedom runway is a power metrics, and power changes your decisions. Now, calculate your freedom months, not your percentage, your runway. Because when you measure runway, you stop obsessing over arbitrary rules and start building leverage. Here's something powerful. If you invested $5 a day at 8% for 30 years, you would end up with over $225,000. That's not about 20%. That's about consistency plus time. Small decisions, long horizon, massive difference. The 20% rule isn't bad. It's incomplete. Your savings rate should reflect your leverage, your stability, your income trajectory, and your freedom targets. Not a recycled number from a different economy. If this changed how you think, comment I am building leverage, because that's the real goal, not percentages, leverage. If this helped you, the next video will help you even more. hit subscribe if you're ready to make, save, and grow your money. I'll see you in the next one. God bless.